Hi, I'm Dr. Theresa Oswald from Knowledge is Medicine, and I'm here in my kitchen. And today what I wanted to talk about are non-meat protein sources. So earlier when I talked about the anti-inflammatory diet, I said that it's plant-based, and so the focus of the diet is regarding using fruits and vegetables and more plant-based nutrients. So a lot of times people go, well, how am I going to get my protein? In fact, when my daughter, who's a vegetarian, when her friends in high school wanted to try being a vegetarian, I had many calls from their worried mothers saying, how are they ever going to get enough protein? Well, most people need about 40 or 50 grams of protein a day, and there are a lot of different sources. So the first ones I'm going to talk about are the plant-based sources of protein. So one of the biggest sources of protein are lentils. So this is mung dal. Dal is used as a staple for protein in Indian cooking. So a typical Indian meal would have a dal, something made with lentils, and then a sabzi, something made with like a stir-fried vegetable. So a cup of cooked dal has about 18 grams of protein. You're almost halfway to your daily amount needed. The other thing I'm a big fan of are beans. So beans of any kind. I have several varieties here. So this is a garbanzo bean, which you can cover with olive oil and put some spices on and roast it in the oven, and then you can put that on salads or snack on it. This is just a plain black bean, which I make refried black beans with some olive oil, garlic, onion, cumin, coriander, some cayenne pepper. This one has it says spicy sauce, so there's actually like a spicy sauce in there, and you can make a nice black bean soup. So beans have around 10 to 14 grams of protein in a cup. Next is something interesting. It's a processed food, so I'm not a big fan of processed food, but I do tend to be a big fan of some meat substitutes that are processed. And this is called corn. And it's from, the name is from a village where it was developed, and it's actually mycoprotein, which is kind of like a mushroom. And it has a large amount of protein. So in one of these patties is 9 grams of protein, and it's only 2.5 ounces. So that's a great option. They have corn that you can dice up and put in to make fajitas, and a lot of different varieties. And I have no ownership in the corn company though. Next is quinoa. I don't have an example of quinoa, but I just want to say that quinoa has in one cooked cup about 9 grams of protein, similar to the corn. But quinoa is not a grain. It's a seed, and that's why it has so much protein, because seeds have all the energy packed into them to grow into the plant that they're going to be. Next is buckwheat in the form of soba noodles. So with this soba noodle, 2 ounces dry, uncooked, is 8 grams of protein. So this is a really nice substitute for pasta. I actually use this with tomato sauce, or I put it in a stir fry or a miso soup. Then again, I was talking about being a fan of seeds. So sesame seed blended into a seed butter is tahini. And tahini in 2 tablespoons has 6 grams of protein. You can put that on toast. You can put it in stir fry. There's another recipe, demo cooking thing that I have where I did a bunch of different colorful vegetables stir fried with a little tahini and some soba noodles. Then lastly, in the vegetable forms or plant-based forms of protein, I just want you to know that even vegetables have protein. Yes, arugula, my favorite green leafy vegetable, in 2 cups, which is about how much I would eat in a day, 4 grams of protein. So you kind of think, oh yeah, I'm using these protein sources, the beans and the nuts and this and that, but green leafy vegetables, broccoli, kale, they all have protein. So you add that all up in the course of the day, you're getting really, plenty of protein. But I am not a vegan. I eat dairy, so there's some good dairy sources of protein. This is my absolute favorite. Again, I do not have stock in this company. I wish I did. I came to love this when I was in Iceland with my daughter. It's called skyr. And skyr is an Icelandic form of yogurt, and it's low fat, and it has 15 grams of protein in just this container, which is 5.3 ounces. So that is a mainstay. I can just have this and a piece of fruit for breakfast, and I'm not hungry till lunch because I'm getting the satiation of having this creamy dairy food with a lot of protein. Then another thing that I found was when my son was hiking on the Appalachian Trail, I needed to find ways to help him get enough protein. And he wasn't going to carry a dozen eggs with him, though he probably could eat a dozen eggs. So one egg has about 6 grams of protein, and it's about 78 calories. You know, eggs are different sizes, but just on average. Well, believe it or not, string cheese, one stick of string cheese has 80 calories, about the same, and the same amount of protein. So a lot of times if I don't get a chance to have protein before I leave for work, I take a piece of string cheese with me. And I'm from Wisconsin and the dairy state. I love cheese. So cheese in moderation is fine. You know, a lot of anything is unhealthy. So yeah, if you were going to get all your protein from cheese, you'd have a problem. But one or two servings of cheese, an actual serving, like an ounce or one stick of cheese, is fine. Unless, you know, directed by your doctor to have an ultra low fat diet. So these are all of my suggestions for protein sources that are not meat-based for a plant-based diet. If you've had experience with any of these things, especially if you've ever had skyr, or if you're a fan of corn, please leave a comment below. And also, if you like this content, please subscribe to the channel. I am Dr. Theresa Oswald from Knowledge is Medicine.